Hello everyone, welcome to the U.S. Immigration News. As the streets of Los Angeles fill with sirens, protest chants, and federal agents in uniform, something deeper is unfolding across the country. The aggressive surge in ICE raids, which began as a crackdown on undocumented immigrants, is now sending shockwaves through the heart of the U.S. legal immigration system. It's a story that hasn't been told enough. One where legal immigrant, green card holders, visa applicants, and even naturalized citizens are being pulled into a climate of fear, confusion, and risk. In this video, we're diving into how these enforcement efforts, combined with sweeping policy changes, are disrupting lives far beyond the intended targets. And if you're a legal immigrant or someone waiting on a USCIS approval, what you'll hear may hit closer to home than you expect. If you are liking this video, please hit the bell button, subscribe, and like it so that you may get updates straight to your smartphone. Now let's get into the video. In Los Angeles, the escalation of ICE raids has reached new levels. Agents have been seen operating not only in workplaces and homes, but in public areas once considered safe zones like schools, medical clinics, and courthouses. But the anxiety these tactics create isn't confined to those without papers. Legal immigrants are also retreating from public life. Many are afraid to leave their homes, to go to work, or even to show up at government appointments, despite having lawful status. For green card holders with pending renewals, adjustment applicants awaiting biometrics, or parents applying for their children's visas, every encounter with the system now carries uncertainty. There's no longer a clear line between enforcement and routine procedure, and it's not just emotional stress, it's real-world disruption. Immigrants are skipping their USCIS appointments out of fear. Some are missing interviews, rescheduling biometrics, or even skipping naturalization ceremonies, worried that federal agents might be waiting outside. And in the current system, one missed appointment can result in case denial, status loss, or even a referral to enforcement. Immigration lawyers across the country are now advising even legal status clients to check in with their attorneys before attending any government meeting. In cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, and Houston, that kind of caution has become survival. When fear keeps people from showing up to USCIS offices, it creates a domino effect. The already overwhelmed system becomes even slower. Across major cities, USCIS field offices and support centers are closing temporarily due to nearby protests, security concerns, or internal staffing issues. Each closure delays hundreds, sometimes thousands, of scheduled appointments. Rescheduling can take months, especially when the backlog was already at record highs before this wave of enforcement began. Even when offices are open, the atmosphere is no longer administrative. It feels adversarial. Applicants report longer interviews, tougher questioning, and stricter documentation requirements. Officers are being told to look for any detail that might justify denial or enforcement action. That includes small inconsistencies in dates, outdated addresses, or minor errors in submitted forms. The mission has shifted from processing and service to investigation and enforcement. Some of the most alarming stories involve people who've done everything right, only to find themselves suddenly vulnerable. Under new policies, ICE is now coordinating directly with immigration courts and even USCIS itself. People are being arrested after completing their interviews, attending check-ins, or resolving minor visa issues. One court appearance could turn into an arrest. One question about your pending petition could lead to detention. A growing number of legal immigrants are being placed into removal proceedings, even if they have an active application or appeal on file. In the past, these individuals would have been allowed to wait out their process. Now, some are being detained on the spot, without warning, without time to consult counsel, and without the chance to resolve their cases. This isn't just harsh. It's a fundamental shift in how the U.S. handles immigration under internal guidelines linked to the Trump administration's Project 2025 plan. Immigration judges are being instructed to dismiss more cases and transfer authority to ICE officers. In effect, it shortcuts the legal system, removing protections and speeding up deportations. At the core of all these shifts is a blueprint called Project 2025. Designed by think tanks aligned with the Trump administration, this document proposes to restructure the entire legal immigration framework. Among its most sweeping goals, the elimination of DACA and temporary protected status, severe cuts to family-based immigration categories, major restrictions on asylum, humanitarian visas, and refugee resettlement. Even more troubling is the plan to integrate immigration judges into the Department of Homeland Security. This would make them essentially part of the same team as enforcement agents, compromising their independence and undermining their ability to issue fair rulings. And then there's E-Verify, a system already shown to be flawed. Project 2025 proposes making it mandatory for all employers, despite evidence that it regularly flags legal immigrants and U.S. citizens of color due to data entry errors or name mismatches. For workers, the message is chilling. Even a small error could cost you your job. For families, it's devastating. Entire categories of sponsorship could vanish overnight. The economic impact of these changes is beginning to show. In sectors like hospitality, agriculture, and construction, employers report worker shortages not just from undocumented communities, but also among legal immigrants. Fear of enforcement, fear of being wrongly detained, or delays in processing work permits are forcing many to stay home. Small businesses are especially vulnerable. They can't afford to navigate legal complexities, and they can't take the risk of hiring someone flagged, even mistakenly, by an overzealous system. For individuals, the consequences are painful. Valid work permits are stuck in the mail. Green card renewals are pending for over a year. Citizenship applications are stalled for months due to cancelled interviews. And every delay creates more uncertainty, more fear, more cost. One of the darkest clouds hanging over this situation is the erosion of due process. Immigration courts are now under immense pressure to expedite cases. This often means immigrants have less time to prepare, fewer opportunities to present evidence, and diminished access to legal counsel. In detention, the situation is worse. Phone access is limited, visits are restricted, and many detainees are unable to contact attorneys or gather documents needed for their cases. Project 2025 seeks to accelerate this further by limiting appeals, speeding up removal orders, and narrowing the kinds of relief judges are allowed to consider. That includes asylum, hardship waivers, and humanitarian protections that have saved lives for decades. Legal immigrants are now navigating a system where paperwork errors are treated like criminal offenses, where lawful presence isn't always enough to stay safe, and where the very idea of justice is being reshaped by politics, not principle. So, what can legal immigrants do in this climate? First, do not skip appointments unless advised by an attorney. Even in high-risk areas, showing up is safer than risking abandonment of your case. Second, keep every piece of documentation updated and on hand, from I-94 records to passport copies, receipt notices, and travel history. Third, consult a trusted immigration lawyer, not just when a problem arises, but before making any decisions. Don't rely on hearsay or online advice. Every case is different. Fourth, watch for changes at local USCIS offices. Check their status regularly and respond promptly to rescheduling notices. And finally, speak up. Contact your local representatives. Share your experience. The system is complicated, but stories move policy, and silence allows injustice to grow. That's all we have for this bulletin. The U.S. Immigration News Channel provides all necessary visa information and procedures for your U.S. immigration journey. It is important to understand the United States immigration processing steps, visa application requirements, processing times, forms, fees, and more. We will continue to provide all information about U.S. visitor visas, such as B1 and B2, work visas such as L1A, L1B, and H1B, student visas, green cards, immigrant visas, EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, and EB5, and family immigrant visas. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the U.S. Immigration News channel. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.